try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check is I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression.
G'day everyone, how are we all this evening? It's Star Seeds and Patriots Down Under. This is Chris here. How are we all? Great to be with you all. I'm actually here tonight with Bob, our good whistleblower and friend and mate from Carl Liebold's Voice of Freedom channel. This is actually live for the first time, so please everyone just bear with me. This is actually going to be quite a different experience for me. I'm not used to all this. But yeah, how are you, Bob? Great to have you with us, mate. How are you this evening?
Very well, thank you, Chris. And yeah, hello
awesome
to everyone watching out there.
Excellent. Thanks for being with us, mate.
It's pretty exciting actually. That starting to come out and branch out and see where this takes us.
We are. It is actually quite exciting, mate. I'm really excited to be able to work with you and be able to do something and create some beautiful content and create a good friendship and rapport with each other for the future and being great mates. Exactly. It's what it's all about is supporting each other and getting there and helping each other get to where we want to be and creating this new world together.
Very, very much so. There's so much that needs to happen in this world. So many of these lies that need to be exposed for what they are, and our real history being taught in schools.
Absolutely.
and I mean, we're missing around 1,000 years minimum of our history, and to bring that back into to reality, and break people out of this illusion.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you, mate. I mean, 1,000 years is a lot of time for history to be rewritten and taken away by those that have been in power in the Victoria Civil War, and to write it in their favour. And we can clearly see, what's been going on through our open eyes, especially I've seen, and being able to talk with you, some of the things you've been able to reveal to me that I didn't know about have actually sent me on some really good paths and being able to find some beautiful information. They've done an extraordinary, exceptional job of rewriting history in their favour, and even the landmarks, the buildings, everything, just the whole land face itself, rewriting things in such a way that they've just erased the land itself, certain markers and things like that as well. History, the libraries, false flags, just you name it, it's just always been there since the beginning. It goes back so far, and that's why it's probably a good thing that you and I have gotten together tonight to be able to, just put this little presentation together. Because, I mean, as much as I haven't been able to get all the photos that I was hoping to get for this evening, because I couldn't find the file as such, I've got some good photos for everyone to enjoy this evening. So I hope everyone gets, a good viewing and be able to, look at some things that we haven't been able to look at before that have been hidden. Some photos you might have seen before to the audience. Some things you might not have. I can tell you some of the sophistication and level of building that some of these ancients and previous past civilizations have been able to succeed with is far beyond the level and scope that we can even possibly even get to today. Like, we've been digressed. Wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree, Bob?
Absolutely. I mean, I go back 30 years ago to when I was in the military, and the technology I was playing with there. And what we were capable of doing. Now, bear in mind, the computers that were known at the time weren't that powerful. However, the mainframes and supercomputers that I was working with, they are still just as relevant today as what they were 30 years ago. But they can do a hell of a lot more now. The suppressed technology that's out there, and really what these elites are hiding, is absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah,
and that's being very, very conservative.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you, mate. Absolutely, that's being conservative. Absolutely, that's us actually being nice about it, really. Um,
Well, I mean, classic example. Think of the SR-71 Blackbird. Now that was designed
exactly,
in the
perfect.
1960s with some of the first computers that were available. Now that flew pretty much right up into the 2000s. So you start thinking, okay, that's 1960s technology.
That's
What
right.
else have they done since that? Jet engine technology hasn't really evolved that much. The fuels haven't evolved that much. They're still very limited with their airframes because of temperature and speed, etc. Um, that's a huge amount of time for what? And this is where I start looking at it, and some of the things that I saw on the Orion, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, like we're using military grade radars and that sort of thing here. Um, Now, well, I'll even give you one example of a return that we got, probably about the size of a seagull. But how many seagulls travel at 20,000 feet and are traveling at more than Mach 2?
yeah,
All
exactly.
right,
I don't think any seagull can. No,
exactly. There's definitely something more out there, and we couldn't see it. So, yeah, or rather, we did see it, but we physically couldn't see it with our own eyes. So it
that's
then
right.
starts to beg the question: what is it? Where is it? There's definitely technology out there, and it is being used that far exceeds what we know today.
Absolutely, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I mean, I think I shared with you today the footage that I caught on my way home from the shops and the photos that I'd shared today. And I mean, there was the last thing that I expected to see this afternoon coming home from the shops was a perfect sided isosceles triangle shaped as a cloud in the sky. I mean,
Mm.
like, how more obvious can it be? I mean, we all know about the TR3B program. We all know that these technologies have been utilized since ancient times. Have been mentioned in the Bible. They've been mentioned in the Quran. They've been mentioned in Tibetan Book of the Living. They've been mentioned in so many different cultures around the world. All these so-called ships in our ancient past that have utilized cloud-based technology in order to pretty much travel around stealthily amongst our skies in plain sight. And here they are today. The US military, Australian military, and other worldwide governments, and I'd say the military industrial complex as such, have utilized this same technology. And to see what I saw today, I mean, clouds, Mother Nature does not build in straight lines, for starters,
Um,
and nor do clouds come in straight lines either, or come in angles for that matter. You know,
Definitely
that
not. I
was that
mean,
was pretty full on. Yeah, what I saw today was pretty good.
yeah, because I mean, normally when you get flat bottom clouds and that sort of thing, you normally have quite a high speed of wind sitting just below that cloud. So, but that can account for one side, but you've got two more, and there is no way you're going to have air that it will end up traveling like that in order to create a triangle. There is no way.
Absolutely, absolutely, mate. Could agree more. Absolutely. So just bear with me for a second, mate. I'm just got to put these headphones just properly in. I've got the wrong ones in the wrong ear. If you can just bear with me, mate. Sorry about that. I didn't have them right before I started. There we go. Now I've got it right. Now I can hear everything properly. Awesome. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, mate. Because I mean, we've seen so much ourselves. I mean, just looking like what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, if you don't mind, I'm going to start putting some of the photos up if we can, mate, just to show you a couple of, sorry, show the audience a couple of these photos just to start out, just to show the level of sophistication,
Hmm.
because the technology that, I mean, I would have loved to put these other photos in as well that I had, but I'll actually explain them. But some of the levels of technology that these individuals had back then was far beyond the scope of what we're capable of doing today. Just let me know if you're seeing what screen, if you can, please, mate.
Yeah.
Because I've
No
actually,
problem.
here we go. All right, so I've just got to Oops.
Yeah, so at the moment I'm seeing, yeah, everything.
Everything okay. No, sorry, wrong one. Okay. Um, remove. There we go. All right. Sorry, gotta go. I'm still getting used to all this as such. Sorry about that. Okay. Get the right screen up this time. If it's going to let me. Sometimes they don't like us to do this. Share screen, please. There we go. All right. Okay, this one. All right. Share. All right. Now just go over here. That's what I needed. There we go. Okay.
So I've got the white hat come up.
Yep, that's one. That's where we should be. And I'm just going to go into my Starseeds folder. And there we go. Now, just to start out with this photo. Okay, just hide that. Guys should be able to see this coming up any second now. Now, just look at this beautiful sunset. I mean, like, sorry, sunrise in Egypt right now. I mean,
Okay,
this is the pit.
We're still at the white hat.
Oh, have you? Oh, really? Okay. Really? So it must have been the other screen I should have had. Okay. It's really confusing this sometimes. All right. All right. Yeah, it must have been the other one. Okay. And we'll get rid of that. Stop screen. Okay. And share screen. There we go. Share. All right. There we go. Now just go across to here. Oops. Oops.
All right, we're seeing absolutely everything on your
Coming up.
screen and stuff at the moment.
Yeah,
So
just that's okay.
file.
That's all right. That's all right, mate. No problem at all. Okay. Now I'm going to drop us in straight to this first photo. This is actually directly under the Sphinx. Now this is a photo that people haven't seen before that I've actually got. Now to think that these people have been lying to us, Zahi Hawass, I'll call out right now on this show. I have no problem with calling out people on my show. And I'll call it out because, I mean, we've seen the narrative that Zahi Hawass has been building for many, many years, saying there is nothing under there. There is no extraordinary city or oasis underneath the Gita Plateau whatsoever. But, well, sorry, this is actually directly under the Sphinx. This is the great cavern that was detected by the radar that we've seen. You know what I mean? And radar and actual picture photographic evidence does not lie. You know, to see that this cavern here leads to a lower level again, and how much lower again, where does that lead? We do not know. This is the only photo that I've got at this stage. But to know that these people were sophisticatedly able to build on this scale, this height, scope, where's the material? Where's it being excavated and taken to? You know, it makes one wonder how this was achieved when they're supposed to be using only copper tools and hammers. You know, like, how is this achieved? Same picture again. How is this achieved on such intricate scale?
Also, what sort of technology is that? Because
what sort of technology?
Because to me, that would not be, part of the headdress or something like that. I'd be starting to think, what sort of technology is that? You know, being up and around the head.
Exactly.
And you've got a lot of a lot of energy channels up around your ears, the back of your head, that's exactly right. Where those coins are. So, yes. What is that representing?
Exactly. I'm very curious to know because, I mean, it's something that I have not been able to discover myself throughout all these years researching myself, to know what this exactly would be, what this would be, and what it's interacting with in our bodies or behind our brain or within our head, or what glands or secretions of chemicals it's producing or promoting to help produce within our brain. What's it doing? What's it interacting with? That's a very good question. We all need to know. We all need an answer to. Something I'm sure in time, will possibly come out. But to be able to, I mean, look at the level of being able to create a three-dimensional human being at this level back then. I mean, come on. This is not by hammers and chisels. This is, I mean, literally, you can't see chisel marks I mean, yes, things have been chipped off, lost over time, weathered, of course, but the intricacy of this, that's like a Dremel tool, CNC machining, and laser CNC etching as well, all built into one machine building this statue. I mean, look at these.
Mm.
Each one of these are individually overlaid as well. How is this possible?
Or even like the lattice and stuff inside the circles, that would
Yes,
be very, very intricate. You know, you
very,
start trying to chip away in there, you'd break that lattice very easily.
absolutely. One small mistake, you'd actually have to start the whole project once all the way over again. Hence the reason why I believe these individuals back then had levels and sophistication of technology that had some form of ability to be able to scan an individual, like we do 3D scanning today, scan an individual and then represent that in stone. And like we've seen sci-fi movies where we've seen, even in Star Trek as well, where we've seen their phasers be able to etch things in stone and leave and take away the excess surrounding it, leaving what was actually pre-programmed in their handheld device. Is it something like that that we're looking at that's possibly scanned a human being and then gone over to a large piece of stone and then actually pressed this laser to basically leave an impression of the actual individual, but dismantle what is it disintegrating or deatomizing the molecules around this thing to leave this stone structure, statue, etc.
Mm.
It just makes you wonder. I mean, when you go to Ellora Caves in India, the level and sophistication of their building there as well is just so beyond what we're capable of today. It just blows my mind. So here we are again, in Egypt. I mean, look at this technology. I mean, we're talking about how technology has been hidden from us today, and what level have they hidden it to? I mean, look at this. We've been told that they used fire in order to carve in ancient Egypt halls or tombs, that they used fire as such. Now, if that was the case, we'd be seeing soot all throughout the ceilings of all of these tombs and ancient caves, systems that were being left behind, these tombs in these beautiful places that have been carved. There's not one bit of soot on their ceilings. But here we are clearly. This is a gold filament made out of gold, shaped like a snake. Here we have a Tesla coil. It's clearly attached to a box where we've obviously got some form of something attached to this box coming out of it. We have representatory arms holding this light bulb with a lotus flower at the bottom here. So this is like the lotus flower stem being like a power cord hooked up to some box that's like a capacitor that holds charge.
Well, I might actually have a bit of a different take on that for you as well, Chris. Okay, going back into real ancient times, the snake was esoteric knowledge, divine knowledge. Now, it's basically been smeared by the church, where they look at esoteric teaching and it's been skewed by the church to be seen as evil. So hence why in the Garden of Eden, in the Bible, etc., you have a snake. The snake is supposedly meant to be evil. Now, if you go right back into really early Egypt, Sumerian times, the snake itself is divine knowledge. So this is knowledge that has actually come from the gods. Now, because you've got the lotus flower, the lotus is your mind, which is often represented in the ancient times as knowledge that has come from someone. So this is divine knowledge coming from someone through, over man. Now, if that is a Tesla coil, etc., so we could be talking about free energy, and bringing it to other people for their survival. So
exactly.
But I mean, I'm certainly no interpreter of ancient ruins or runes and hieroglyphs, but the theme is there all the way through. The Kundalini that
Yes.
is represented by the snake. It
Yes.
is demonized by the church, yet, and yet, if anyone that does anything with the spiritual arts, the Kundalini is very, very important because it is
Very.
the raising of energy and the bringing of energy up from Mother Earth and from the heavens above into your middle to create your spark.
That's right. The inner spark. Exactly right, my friend. Exactly right. I couldn't agree more with you on that. I couldn't agree more with you. That is absolutely refreshing for you to be able to say that as well and put that spin on it, because I wouldn't have actually put that on there because I was primarily focused at that point in time about the bulb and everything like that. But we did need to focus on that as well because it's very important that we touched on that, because these are the things that have been hidden from us as such, and these are the things that we need to uh, um, align ourselves with in relation to where we're going to go in the future. I mean, the fact that this was known as a Jed Tower, these things here that are supporting this bulb, the fact that the lotus flower is representatory of the mind and the brain. Okay, the Jed Tower is representatory of the Tesla coil that we know today. Okay, but the Jed Tower also represents the. If you look at Jed Towers, the original Jed Towers, they had 33 of these pieces here, representing also this spinal cord in which the Kundalini travels up and down.
There you
So
go.
that was very good that you actually touched base on that, because I probably wouldn't have actually made note of that tonight, Graham. So sorry, Bob. I'm thinking of my mate for a second. He just messaged me. Sorry about that. He just come up in my screen. Sorry about that, buddy. Yeah, Bob. Sorry about that, mate. But yeah, I would have. I was just focused on that at the time. What's your take on these, mate? On these stone structures from ancient sites around Macedonia and upper northern Siberia, and the fact that they're building buildings today on these sites that representatory of these ancient structures. What is your take on these, Graham? What do you think?
Well, I know in sort of some of the stuff that I've looked into, there are several locations around the world where stargates or natural portals have existed. And
Yes.
going right back into ancient times, there is actual factual evidence that these have existed
Yes.
in ancient writings. So they're definitely there. A lot of us definitely hidden. I know a lot of this has also been put underground uh, in order to preserve it from previous resets. It's there, but again, I haven't seen anything up close. But certainly, the likes of some of these modern buildings, CERN, that sort of, those sort of things,
Yeah.
they really worry me because
Yeah.
they're chasing stuff that this realm could not. Oh, sorry. Yeah, they're chasing things that are not quite right for this realm. Let's put it that way.
No. The laws of physics that are applied in this realm, if these sorts of things that they're chasing were to enter, some of the things these or abilities these creatures, I'll give them that word, were to do, or to partake upon on this planet or this realm as such, would seem absolutely magical to us, or like sorcery or witchcraft, on a massive scale. These things are able to do things that we've been taught to not exist. They'd wreak havoc on our planet. Using CERN the way they have and utilizing what power they've been doing, and tapping into the different alternate realities of dimensions that they're trying to tap into, and what they've been trying to bring through. Yeah, I couldn't imagine if they were successful what this world would look like today. That's for sure. Because we've been pretty much informed over the last few years what they've been trying to do at CERN, and the fact that they've been doing ritual ceremonies outside of CERN in front of the statue of Shiva, the destroyer,
Mm-hmm.
from the ancient Indian Vedics. Shiva, being the destroyer, was also the creator as well. In order to create one,
Quite
must
right.
first destroy. So exactly what they're trying to do, trying to build the world in their image and what they would like. They were using CERN in order to bring forth or invoke these negative spirits and entities to come forth into our dimensional plane of existence to bring about hell on earth. Exactly, and
Well,
CERN had to be stopped.
I mean, there's certain elements of the church. I don't know if I quite want to go down this track, but um,
That's okay. You don't have to if you don't want to, mate. It's no problem.
Okay. What I'm about to say, people, if you are quite religious and whatnot, this probably is going to come as quite a bit of a shock to you. Um, I'm not begging religion or anything like that, but a lot of churches and that sort of thing, every Sunday, and most people will not even realize it, but they are actually partaking in a blood ritual. When you come
Thank
up
you.
onto the altar and you sip the wine and you take the bread, you're actually symbolizing the drinking of blood and the eating of human flesh.
Exactly right, my friend.
Now, I know that's going to be very uncomfortable for a few people, and um, it is going to rock your beliefs, and
Yes.
most certainly I understand that. But please, people, start to understand exactly how far religion has been used against you to actually hide not only who you are, but what you are and what you're capable of, because religion is a form of control.
Exactly. No, thank you for touching on that, Bob.
So,
That
but
was
I do apologise if I have upset your listeners and that sort of thing.
not
But
at all, mate. Don't
um,
apologise. Truth is truth, mate.
yeah, it is a hard pill to swallow. Unfortunately, I've seen many loved ones. They are very, very religious. Um, some of them, right to really deep within the church, and it's not until they've had a major fall and they've come really taken that step back, and I started to explain certain certain scenarios within Satanism and relay it to their religious practices, that suddenly the penny drops.
Yeah.
And this is just one of the many um, areas that religion have skewed everything. So
Totally wholeheartedly agree.
to confuse people.
Yeah, I totally wholeheartedly agree. I came across this myself in my travels. Because I mean, as a child myself, I had uh, Catholicism from the age of 6 rammed down my throat by well, not rammed. I wouldn't say. I won't say that. It's a bit of a more stronger word to use. I'll actually say more so taken along every Sunday because I didn't have a choice really, being at 6 years of age. But back then, I didn't see the value in religion. I couldn't see the factor of what I was going there for, to feel sad, to feel guilty about things that I've done that are supposed to be learning experiences. But then finding out later on through my travels, and the learning of the research that I've come onto, like yourself, that it was a good thing that I ran from it back then, because really, at the end of the day, as you said, people are, as they rock up to the altar, are partaking in a symbolic, as you will, sense of a symbolic form of ritual sacrifice, the eating of the flesh and the drinking of the blood. What benevolent human being that placed themselves in such an ordeal to save us as such, or who loved us as much as he did our brother, who would want themselves to be taken up and eaten and drunk later on by a group that were actually the ones that put him up on there in the first place?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I mean, the Roman Catholic Church are the ones that killed him and put him up there, and put him through that ordeal of torture before putting him up on there. But here they front today as being the holiest indoctrination system today of religion for the masses, but they're the very people that kill them. That just goes to show you the arrogance of humanity and being bogged down in their materialism and not really caring about where the true history of this stuff lays. And they need to actually wake up and have a look at that.
I mean, people have also got to understand too that the version of the Bible that you have now is only a fraction of what is actually there. There are so many more books that were left out by Constantine, by King James.
Yes.
There's many areas that have been changed and skewed. What a lot of the things that are in the Bible, definitely did happen somewhere within history. The time frames, etc., have been moved, and that is definitely verifiable. If you actually go and do your research, some of the stuff dates back into Sumerian times. Some not actually that long ago. But But also, if you start to look a lot deeper into your Bible, that sort of thing, you actually start to find that you should have 13 months in a year.
That's right.
Than 12. They've purposely taken one out. It's why women have 13 periods generally within a year. You have 13 new moons within a year.
That's right.
That's why, and with a deck of cards, you have 13 cards. You have 4 seasons, 4 decks. And this is also where you the tarot cards come from. It's all linked in.
All connected.
We literally have been so lied to. The dates, etc. Going back, like you've got September should be the 7th month, not the 9th. October 8, November 9, December, decimal 10. The April should actually be the start of your new year. So in the Northern Hemisphere, that is the first day of spring. Yeah. That is the resurrection. Right. As the sun comes up, the sun has re-arisen. So the warmth, etc., because winter is now done, the warmth of his love is now upon the earth. And so April 1st should actually be the day you actually should be celebrating Jesus. But what do we know as the 1st of April? It's April Fool. Total inversion of really something very sacred.
Very sacred, yes. They've totally inverted the whole lot, yes. That's exactly the same conclusion I came to as well, mate. Yeah, the whole, I mean, even the inversion of taking away from Mother Nature, like taking away the actual dates, the moons, the cycles, that 1 month, that 1 13th sign, as well. Just putting, you can see how the biological clock of not only the planet but also human beings has completely been put off by the factor of this system of control they've put in place, this 12-month system. It's completely crazy. The coercion of it all and the way that they've hidden it is just completely, like they seriously really, really knew their and I will say it, they knew their shit. They knew what they were doing. Mm-hmm. They knew their stuff. And they were, from what I can see as well, I mean, they were really obviously also in fear and using that fear against us through this religious indoctrination system of control to keep us in fear of what's coming, when in fact it was them.
Yeah, very much so.
And because, I'm going to move on to this next picture. Now, just another picture of from Egypt here. Now, this is probably another Jed Tower, I'd say, just sitting in a symbolic bowl, but here's your Jed Tower with Horus and Thoth standing side by side on this side of each of this Jed Tower. And this Jed Tower had 33 of these bars, again symbolizing the 33 vertebrae within the human being from the neck to the tailbone, in which the Kundalini energy spark travels up and down. And the funny fact that you've got Tote and Horus standing side by side. Ancient technology in plain sight, Tesla coil right there. Advanced technology in ancient times. What would you say about that, Bob?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't gone too far down that side of things, but yeah, very, very, very interesting there too. Because if you also look at nearing the top of the tower,
Yes,
would it be your
snakes.
probably your four top chakras. So when you
Yes,
actually open up, um,
yeah,
the really all your chakras from your heart upwards are the real key
yes,
players to accessing the divine information.
yes, exactly. No, I couldn't agree more. Oh, my kitty cat's decided to join us. Now here's a small Tesla coil just in someone's home studio. I mean, this is obviously the same sort of energy that the Egyptians and every ancient civilization and culture were obviously dealing with through these different Jed towers they were creating. This is just a basic Jed tower created with modern technology, being a basic Tesla tower, but this would have to be the same ether electromagnetic field free energy that Tesla was um, utilizing back then. This would be the same technology that they were using in ancient times, wouldn't it?
Most
Safe to
definitely,
say.
and the amount of voltage that you have there being displayed.
Yeah,
I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of volts to create that.
yeah, exactly. I mean, from such a
So
small
very,
device,
very
I mean,
high
look at the
pressures.
size. I mean,
Yeah,
look at these. I mean, yeah, that's a small device producing that amount of energy. Yeah. No wonder they went with Edison's version of shit, mate. Eh? They couldn't meter this. They couldn't meter this or make any money out of it. That's why they went with it and laughed Tesla out of the scientific community. Makes absolute perfect sense. That's why they could make their money and have maintained their power of control over the energy market for the last 100 something years. And hence getting us to the point where they're actually trying to maintain their grip of control on that right now with their bullshit green deals, etc. And they're stopping. They're trying to stop the rollout of their bloody these new Wardenclyffe towers that I've seen being rolled out across Midford, Texas right now. You know, I've got photos of these new big towers that look almost exactly like um, the Wardenclyffe Tower that was built by Tesla, but they're a smaller version of it, and they're being rolled out across Texas right now and in Midford and a couple of other states of Wyoming as well. There's one up in Wyoming. I actually should have put those photos probably in this presentation just to show you that. But yeah, just the fact that these things are being rolled out right now. So here we go. Here we go. An electric oscillator by Nikola Tesla. Now, the fact that this looks very similar to the Egyptian Ankh. So it makes you ask the question, was the Ankh an electromagnetic device, handheld electromagnetic device?
Yes. Now, I'm trying to remember back. Richard Tillinger, South African fella.
Michael Tellinger, yes.
Michael Tillinger.
Yes. Yes. I know
Yeah, if your listeners actually want to delve a little bit further, go and have a look at his work because he covers some of the stuff. And whether it's electromagnetism or it's sound related, but in ancient times they used the Ankh, or rather the sort of whether they were like the shamans or the sorcerers, call it whatever you will, but yeah, they had the Ankh and they could levitate and move objects with them. And again, this is obviously something that we certainly don't know how to use because each of those Ankhs is tuned specifically for the person.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. That's what I've always thought to myself. And I'm glad that you validated that for me, mate, because each Ankh would have a specific purpose as well, a specific purpose to be utilized for.
Yeah, but for your listeners, definitely go and look up Michael Tellinger. He's done some fantastic work over this. And he can take you into a lot more depth over how these things possibly were used, and amazing stuff.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Now, a lot of people are going to get their knickers up in a knot over this symbol, unfortunately. It's because of their misunderstanding of where it was coerced from. So, and I'll get you to elaborate on it as well if you could, Bob, in a second. But yeah, a lot of people out there will unfortunately have a misunderstanding of the misrepresentation of this symbol, unfortunately, because it was coerced by Adolf Hitler back in the 1930s, due to the fact that they went around to a lot of ancient sites, especially up in northern Tibet, and discovered quite a lot of the ancient esoteric secrets up there, and coerced this symbol. But do you have knowledge yourself, Bob, of this symbol and the actual power and the relation to how the Tibetans used this and what it was for back in before it was coerced? Are you able to elaborate on that at all, mate?
Okay, as far as my understanding goes, the early swastika was actually a sign of good luck and prosperity before the Germans got a hold of it in order to represent the black sun.
Yes, that's right.
So the Hansa symbol, etc., with the hand, that was bringing the human power through your hand, but giving you the power of the divine for prosperity. Now that's my understanding of it. If you know more, Chris,
that's exactly what I've come to as well. That's about as far as I got to with the understanding of the actual meaning of this symbol. That I found keeping it simple was the best way to be. Like when coming to understand the symbol, the fact that I'd known that it had been coerced from an elsewhere source. When I found out that source was a benevolent source and not malevolent, and the meaning behind it, I thought to myself, well, there's no further meaning for me to go any further into other than the fact that it's meant for peace, prosperity, etc., and that it has been used and inverted for hatred and war.
Very much so.
And division and conquering. Hence, why Adolf Hitler used it and coerced it the way he has. And still to this day, people think it's cool to wear this symbol as a manner of being an angry person with shaved head and wearing Doc Martens, for an example. It's not cool at all to be sitting there using this symbol in such a way. If anything, you're just creating such karma on an energetic level and frequency that you're going to have it come back tenfold on you.
Most definitely, yeah.
Here we have the Jed Tower again with two. I'd love to be able to sit there with a decipher, a translation tool, and be able to sit there and actually type each one of these in and actually get a meaning translation for this story here. It'd be amazing to find out. Probably something I should do at some stage.
Well, one thing people also need to realise too, that the Egyptian culture is not isolated just to Egypt.
That's right.
You've got the Gosford glyphs, where it's already been proven that there are writings. Now, I mean, that's on the east coast of Australia. And there are other places around the world where Egyptian hieroglyphs have actually been, they have been there. Some have been removed in order to cover up. So, I mean, the Egyptians may have actually been a much wiser and more worldly race than history actually lets on.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you. I mean, just the fact that we know that the Gosford glyphs are here, and the fact that they date back to a period in time that predates ancient Egypt, the fact that they're actually much more weathered and worn. Yes, we know that there are a couple of fakes amongst the Gosford glyphs by a couple of locals that tried to create some glyphs that would try and put people off, etc. But there are clear-cut differences between those that have been made recently in the rockstone strata to those that have been there for thousands and thousands of years. But the story that's there in Gosford is absolutely amazing. And to know that these people was not just seafaring locally, but seafaring to a degree across the globe, to all nations, cultures, trading into relating with each other, and just the fact that the history that we've been told is absolutely wrong, completely inverted, upside down. Yeah, they were. I mean, the fact that they were not just in Egypt, but they were in. We found them in northern bloody Canada. We found Roman swords in Canada before they were even supposed to be there. You know, just the fact that the whole story that we've been told is just completely upside down and inverted. Yeah. This is curious. What would you take this to be, possibly? What do you think this possibly would be? Because is this possibly a base stone for a pillar that would stand inside a temple? Would that be a base stone maybe for a pillar that would sit inside there and interlock
Very,
it maybe?
very,
Or is this something
very
else?
possible.
Hmm.
Because I mean, whatever would have been in there,
It's obviously had fire and destruction of some sort because we can see a pillar clearly destroyed here and the rubble around it, and there's soot everywhere. But yeah, I mean, is there any markings on this? Because I mean, I only just found this photo today and I thought it was interesting. I'll throw it in there because yeah, I'd like
yeah,
to know. I'd like to know where it is.
yeah. I would love to say that would be a pedestal, possibly for a statue, or
Yeah,
yeah,
yes. Now
because
that's something I didn't think of.
possibly even to like a water feature where you've got with the hole in the center, you'd be able to bring water
Yes,
up and through.
through the center. Yes, exactly. Now that's something I did not think of. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate that, mate. That's yeah, because I thought that was interesting to look at, and I thought it's some form of structure. I mean, the fact that it's so symmetrically round as such. I mean, and the sophistication of making this. I mean, geez, I mean, it's etched stone. I mean, it's completely
Oh no,
smooth on the outer edges.
yeah, and I mean, and that would be fairly heavy. You'd be looking 2-3 tons minimum there.
Oh, at least, yeah, easy. Bowls in the middle of nowhere. Grain storage, possibly something else for making of, like making of food for masses. Who knows? But yeah, these stone circles. I mean, they're just all the way along, right up to about this last one here.
Because I mean, all of that, yeah, looks like it's ribbed around the outside, as if something's almost
Yeah,
would attach over to the top of it.
yeah, like these little ribs. Yeah, exactly. Yes,
So
that's what I
yeah,
thought
which
too. Because look at the
then
holes.
then ask the question: has it been a pressure vessel of some description?
Mm, very, very good question. Yes, and the fact that these holes here are so perfect as well. I mean, this is a solid stone. This is granite. I mean, like how on earth were they able to drill and create symmetric holes like this? Other than, I mean, some of the ways we have seen are possible, using stone against stone to create these things, harder stoned materials against softer stone materials. But to to leave them exactly the same all the way around on every one of these things, I mean, we can see it here. If we can zoom up, they're
Because I mean,
all over these things.
very granite's
One of the
very
hardest
very
stones on the planet.
hard. So
Yeah.
yeah,
One, now, looking at this is obviously some form of great turbine that they're building here. Okay, to some degree. Now, just looking at the
mhm.
different fan blades that they're building, etc., and comparing it to, sorry, sorry, that's not in, it's not in sequence. Oh, that's so sad. I thought it was in sequence. Damn it. Oh, I thought it was in sequence. Looking at this and then looking at the actual insides of some of the Allura caves. Okay, they've got these pillars that stand inside the Allura caves, and that's actually in this um, file. But looking at these things, they look exactly like these pillars. If you were to stand these propulsion units upright as a pillar, looking inside the Allura caves, it looks like they're actually trying to depict that these pillars were actually turbofans. I mean, like these are. This is what I would call a
Vimana.
uh, vimana, exactly a vimana from the ancient Mahabharata scripts of ancient India, flying vessels. Now, some of these caves that they've built, like Allura caves, actually trying to depict these ancient vimanas, and what we're seeing on the inside of these tombs or structures or caves or whatever are actually the insides of what these vimana would look like possibly. And it's hard to say, but the fact that these things are I actually heard a story that one of these had actually been found in Afghanistan when the troops were over in Iraq and traveling through the Afghani top foothills, and they came across a cave, and apparently, they came across one of these things buried inside a cave, and they approached it and were disintegrated.
Mm.
Yeah. Also inside a temple. Yeah, a temple inside India. Um, Very famous temple. I can't remember the name of the temple now, but apparently, it's one that's got seven gates. Seven gates there, and they were forbidden to unlock the seventh one. But when they did unlock it recently, they went inside and they found an ancient Vimana was inside this ancient building, and the building had been built around it to embody what was inside the building. The building actually looked like the ship that was inside, and
Wow.
up against the inside of this building, leaning up against this Vimana, was an ancient, and he was wrapped in wrappings that were very similar to the conquistadors that were in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull with Harrison Ford. How they were all completely wrapped up, airtight, etc., non-exposed to oxygen, etc. And they opened it up, and it turned out that this is in India, mind you. Okay, so keep in mind that India is filled with Indians. Okay, the pigment of their skin is very dark compared to those of us in the Western world. What they found inside these wrappings was an 8 foot tall man with blonde hair and fair skin.
Mm.
So
That's the cat amongst the pigeons.
yeah, very much a cat amongst the pigeons. Eh? That kind of stirs India's bloody ancient history up a bit, eh?
Mm.
That was some intel I heard on a show through a whistleblower on another show about 4 years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
So God knows what they've done with that Vimana since then. Now, this is what I wanted to show you. This one here. What does this look like to all of us today?
Looks like the old Wi-Fi almost.
Exactly right, my friend. And the fact that she's sitting there with her phone, she's recognised this herself. She's pointing to her phone right here, knowing full well that what she's seeing there is the same Wi-Fi signal that we have on our phones, computers, laptops, PCs, any form of device that we use today.
Yeah, because
they had Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I forget where I saw it, but there's ancient sort of markings and stuff, but they called them scrying screens. So,
Right.
and which then sort of you're going to start asking yourself the question, is what we have today basically technology that has already been discovered, but just re-released by the elite?
Yeah, slowly leaked over that 100-year disclosure that Lawrence Rockefeller and the Clinton Foundation wanted to put out. Exactly. Slowly leaked. Now, just curiously, I just noticed this now. Now, I haven't actually looked. I mean, I've looked at this picture before, and I've always seen the Wi-Fi signal myself. But curiously, I just realised: is this a sound pod? Like those little speakers, those little subwoofer speakers that we have today, like by JBL.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a similar sort of thing back then?
Possibly.
Who knows? It's a very fascinating little thing. I mean, it could be a jar. It could be anything. It could be a mushroom. It's got a dome top. But, yeah, just curious the fact that there's a Wi-Fi signal there in one hand, and it's coming from a small disc. There's no device. It's just coming from a small disc that's emanating this Wi-Fi. So what's this? And what's this supposed to depict or supposed to be emulating?
Yeah, unless one is a transmitter and one's a receiver.
One's a transmitter and one's a receiver, possibly. Yes, exactly. Yeah, could be. Curious, eh?
Yeah.
Now here's where we get to the nitty gritty. I mean, like, look at this. This is ancient India. I mean, what is this? Looks like a phone. What's this? With a stylus in their hand, handheld Palm Pilot or iPad.
Mm.
Curious, eh? And this is in stone. I mean, stone doesn't lie. People carve things in stone for a reason, so that it lasts the test of time, so people will get the picture, get the idea. I mean, this is in plain sight every day in India, and people just walk past it like it's nothing. They don't even recognise or put the two points of reference together and go, oh wow! Like when you look at this, but it's clear cut technology.
Most
Someone's on
definitely.
loudspeaker right here, holding their phones up to their ear, like I normally do, like I was before with yourself and Carl before we started the show. Um, that's straight. I mean, would you say that would be clear cut technology to you, Bob?
Very, very possible. I mean, yeah, either that or some sort of sound device, and
Yeah,
you're holding it up to your ear in order to get better clarity or
better clarity. Yeah, makes just so much sense that these
mm,
people obviously there we go. That's what I was trying to get at before. Now this is inside Elora Caves, okay, and so is this here. Now, but isn't it funny that it looks like the front end of a turboprop from a jet engine?
the turbofan.
Yeah, the turbofan. Yeah, the turbofan's inside of a jet engine. Yes, the fact that this is inside the interior central center space of the interior of the Elora Caves. This is another section of the Elora Caves as well. So it makes me wonder, did they have some form of jet propulsion in these Vimana? And what we're seeing today is just no different to what they were using back then. I mean, I do know that they also had anti-gravity properties, and they had liquid mercury engines that were pressurized and highly spun in a gyrosphere. But coming in, certain elements of these things do remind me of turbofans and turboprops.
Yeah. The other thing that could also be too is in order to accelerate acoustics.
Oh, now you're talking. Now that's what I like. That's far left.
Because
Comments like that makes you think. Absolutely.
because looking at that, you're folding. Yeah, you're folding energy in constantly. So the higher the frequency, the closer to the center that you're getting. So
Yeah.
possibly are you generating some sort of vortex?
Vortex energy. Yes. Yes. One thing I really like about these pictures of these particular caves is the fact that they're so geometrically sound.
Hmm.
Geometrically sound and beautiful in every way to look at, because the sophistication to build something like that, we can't recreate this today. With modern technology, we are not able to recreate these sorts of stone structures with what we have. So who and what built these? Did we build these? Have we got this technology? Is it being hidden by the Vatican? This is fundamental questions we need to ask. Could we build these sorts of things again?
Yeah.
Ancient Egypt, modern day.
Yeah. Isolators.
The old
Yeah.
Baghdad kind of gives a bit of a truth in plain sight there. Now, this is what gets me, is that modern day technology, chips, circuit boards, etc., look like ancient stone cities from our ancient past on a micro scale.
Mm-hmm.
These cities were circuit boards to a degree, creating and generating electricity.
Yeah, and if you also look under a lot of the old ancient cities, you've got tunnels and canals, etc., for water, which would
Yes,
travel
aqueducts and
under a
tunnels.
lot of the major buildings. So,
Yep.
again, is that how the energy is being processed through that city?
Exactly. Yeah, it makes you wonder. Yeah, I mean, we've got these gold capstone buildings all around the planet as well that have all had lightning rods on top of them, but most of these buildings have been destroyed. But were they all drawing in free energy from the ether, from the magnetic field, before they went
Most
to
certainly.
denizens? Exactly.
And I mean,
Yeah, they had to.
because also look at a lot of your ancient cathedrals, they've
Yes.
all got water associated in and around it.
Exactly.
Now the acoustics, if you actually start to go into these places, not the modern ones, but the ancient ones, the acoustics are something
Yes.
absolutely mind blowing. So have they been charging the water in order to send that out? So our cathedrals
Yes.
actually nothing more than ancient energy uh, collectors, as it were.
Yeah. Yes.
Uh, uh,
No, I
yeah,
highly believe that.
you just to me, there's a lot more than just um, a place to worship, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Absolutely. A place of healing as well.
Mm.
Place of healing, place of getting in communication with the unseen as well.
Well, certainly, because
Higher
a
ups.
lot of the what do you call it, the rose windows, etc., in the big cathedrals, start to have a look at
Yes.
cymatics, and you start to see those patterns come through in sound
Somatics.
waves, and here they
Yes.
are, literally exactly the same, but they have
Yep.
glass in them. So
Yes.
the the really earliest form, where they even meant to have glass in them, is by putting glass in there, actually muting the resonant frequency of that
Yes.
of that opening. Yeah, are you
Yep.
intentionally killing what should be going in? Just
Yep.
food for thought.
I agree. I absolutely agree, mate. Absolutely. Modern day rocket. Hmm. Very curious. Were
And
they
there's
dealing
the
with
unk.
rockets?
And if
And
we
the
know
unk
that
as well.
if the unk was used for levitation,
Yep.
um,
So what are they symbolizing here? It's very curious, hey?
mm,
And the fact that we've even got a coil here, refueling hose, the unk symbolizing power, levitation, etc. These two symbols, I've got to actually find out and decode what these two symbols mean as well. Because they were actually,
mm,
I think what this one here was carried, this particular one here was carried by Tote, not Tote, Horace, I
Horace, yeah.
believe. Horace used to carry this one quite a lot. So
Mm.
yeah, I think they were dabbling to a degree in yes, that sort of technology for sure, and lifting off. Here we go, free energy again. Now this is an ancient site in India. This is exactly like a Tesla tower, a wooden tower generating
Most,
electricity
most
from the ether.
definitely.
I mean, just the fact that they knew about this and look at the layers. I mean, this is perfect. I mean, you wouldn't want to make a mistake while building these things, especially out of stone. I mean, geez,
No.
that's just great. And each statue is each one is intricately carved to match on each side. I mean, you've got to have some form of laser machining to be able to do something like that.
Mm.
Here we go again. Here we go again. These gold pieces across the top of this ancient um, Indian building here. Yeah, and each one of these are statues as well. Each one of these are perfectly formed and it has an individual impression of an actual person. So each one of these people here were actually based off a real individual. But here we have the same arc electricity coming in from the ether that would have been used by these things here. So these buildings are actually emulating that they were trying to represent these Vimana, and this is the way that it actually flies by drawing in this power. Would you say that would be correct?
Very good possibility of it. And just also looking there too, there wouldn't happen to be 7 levels in that, would there? If you have
I'm not
one
sure.
level per chakra.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with the top. I don't know if
Yeah,
that's
but
one.
I'm just talking about your actual windows there. Because
Oh,
if
the
you
windows are such. Yeah,
so if you
yeah.
each of those windows could possibly represent a level of your chakra, and
7.
then
Yeah, there we go. There is 7
the
because
same.
right up the top here, you've got Shiva up the top,
God,
right here
God is
in
the
this
war.
archway, which is also yeah. And you've got one,
Mm.
2, 3, 4. Now, if you go down to where this level here is here, this one would be the next one. 5, 6, 7. There you go, mate. There's your 7. I mean, that, behind the TV, of course, you'll have you got your
Yeah,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that would be the ground floor, ground unit right there, ground
yeah,
floor.
you're right. Yeah,
That'd be your 8.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, just putting it out there.
It's worthwhile thinking about, mate. We have to. Now look at this. This really reminds me of a computer chip on a rock. I mean, that's in Japan, obviously, somewhere in Japan. I can't remember the place, but look at the glyphs. There are glyphs carved into all of this. It'd be good if we get an actual clearer picture of this. Actually, I'd like to find an updated, clearer picture. But I mean, this is a raised section, okay, in the center of this stone, like the exterior of a crater without being hollow in the center. So to do that, you'd have to remove the excess, or you'd have to have some form of level of technology to be able to make the stone soft and malleable enough to somehow pull up from the center outwards to make that impression. That's very hard to do. I mean, considering a stone of that size and the fact that we're not supposed to have that sort of technology. I mean, what removed the excess stone to be able to carve all this, to leave that there raised, or what raised that section out of the stone to create this so that you could carve all this into it? I mean, either way, there's some form of technology involved. Organic technology versus artificial intelligence technology. Definitely organic for some, for some certainty there. There's something there about it that reminds me of what I would call organic technology. Would you say that possibly is a possibility there, Bob?
More than definitely a possibility. The other thing that reminds me of too is also a tortoise shell.
Yes, the tortoise shell. Yes, and there's many different nations around the planet. The Polynesians, the Hawaiians, all have stories of the tortoise or the turtle. Exactly. Yeah.
So,
and this could be telling a story for all we know as well. Beautiful place, whatever this is, but what is this? I mean, yeah. This is. What are these? And this is in an ancient place in Iraq. But what are these things here? I mean, we're not supposed to have gears and cogs. I mean, this is a coil, some sort.
Well, either that or whatever it was rotating was extremely heavy.
Very.
Because that's some serious weight right there.
Absolutely.
With whatever, yeah.
So I didn't know I had this picture there. Sorry. But yeah, Stargates again. But yeah, here we go. That's what I was trying to get at before. Now, these pillars. See how the pillars look very much like a turbofan for a jet engine, but they're standing vertical instead of horizontally. And each one, if you actually look at them, they are all perfectly intricately done to match just about. Or each one has a different function. Actually, if you look at each one, if they're supposed to emulate a jet engine's turbofans, if you look at each one, they're actually slightly different from each one to the other. But to not make a mistake, I mean, come on, how is this possible with the supposed technology they had back then?
Well, the old copper hammer and chisel certainly wouldn't cut it that way.
No, not up against that stone, mate. No way. Same picture again. Sorry. I thought I got rid of these. Sorry about that. That's what I wanted to get to. Yes, the Sphinx now. Now, that picture I showed, first of all, that we ended up underneath the Sphinx there, there is an actual opening around the back here, somewhere along the back foot or around this area here. But I know this goes into a small chamber that's just inside this section here. But this here, I have photos of black and whites that I'm about to show you back from the 1920s and 30s where this hole in the head was actually open. Okay? There you go. This is before the actual enclosure was excavated to be put on show for the world. This is a point in time in our history where the Sphinx still had the hole open in its head. Okay. Now we know about the Hall of Records being underneath there and the Great Vast City. Was this one of the possible entrances, or was this? Because I know there's another entrance on the back as well. There's another entrance which I'm about to show you. Okay, this goes directly into the back of the Sphinx.
Interesting. Because there has been a second Sphinx discovered recently, isn't there?
That's correct. That's correct, yes. So this is one thing I'm curious about as well, and a lot of people have been speculating that this quite possibly might be a stone-like button that could actually open a door um, that is between the Sphinx's front paws. I'm not sure if that is true or not. Um, People like gatekeeper Mr. Zahi Hawass would probably only know this. Um,
Mm.
Or maybe Mr. Eric von Daniken, maybe. Um, at least Mr. von Daniken's, to a degree, with us. But yeah, the fact that Zahi Hawass would know what this is for sure. Because I mean, we've all heard that there's an entrance. There is a great tablet at in the between the two paws as well that speaks of the actual um, the underground that's that used to be available to everyone on the surface. Yeah, there's a better picture of it there. Yeah, very much like a stone button, like we've seen in movies before. Hey,
Mm. Indeed.
I think that's the end of my photos. I thought I was going to get to the rainbow light. Sad. I thought I was going to get to that. Damn, I thought I actually had the. Because, yeah, well, look at that. We've already had 1 hour and 11 minutes. Hey. It looks like Carl's enjoying his steak. Looks like Carl's enjoying his steak because we haven't been joined in by him yet. He's not actually at the bottom of the screen with us yet, mate. I haven't been able to bring him in. That's all right. I was going to say, mate, I mean, I can easily. How much more time have you got up your sleeve, mate? You said about an hour and a half this evening, didn't you, mate?
Yeah, I've got about another 20 minutes I can sort of play with before I got to run away.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to be considerate of that as well, so you can get to being with your partner this evening, mate. Absolutely, I don't want to hold you up
Got to be the old head chef and chief bottle washer tonight. So, yeah.
Oh yes, yeah, you can't let them down with that one. You can't let them down with that one. No,
Well,
I was going to say, it's actually it's just great to know that. I mean, like you and I have touched on some very amazing subjects, and I just wanted to just say like some of the things that we've been talking about, we're going to segue at some stage in the near future into doing some shows for the audience, of course. And I'm really looking forward to being able to do that with you because I have not been able to, and you agree with me as well, because we've both said this. We've not been able to communicate or talk about some of these subjects for all of our lives. We have not been able to communicate it because we've not met other like-minded people. But here we are now, finding each other right now, and all of us, funnily enough, synchronistically, all of us are coming together all at once now. To be able to present this sort of information, be able to work with you and just create that friendship and rapport. I've got to say thank you as well. I mean, gratitude. Being introduced to you through Carl. Because it's given us. Oh, you're welcome, mate. Thank you. I love you. You're a mate. I consider you to be family as well now, mate. But to be able to just be connected, through Carl and just the fact that we've been able to create this rapport that we're building at the moment, and just and the fact that we've got so many beautiful things coming up together, and the fact that we're going to be working with other beautiful people, like-minded individuals on their projects with them as well, including Carl and other beautiful people that we're going to meet. It really kind of warms my heart to know that now we're actually doing what we're meant to be doing, and instead of being distracted, bogged down by the bullshit system of control. I mean, how do you feel? How do you feel, mate?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, now is the time where more people need to come out and actually question that narrative. There's more and more that is now being disclosed, even in mainstream, where what we were taught in schools is nothing more than bullshit. And to actually have not only the interest in it, but going forward and questioning what's really out there. I mean, there's people like Campbell Purvis, Kelly Jones, etc. out there. They're doing a lot with Tataria and that sort of thing.
But, Kelly, absolutely.
I mean, but there's so much more out there. Even old Martin Ledker back over in Wales. He's uncovering more and more, and but this is just a small segment of what's been hidden, and
Yeah.
to actually have the ability to be a critical thinker and take that step back and go, well, hey, hang on a minute, you know, that doesn't sound right. It doesn't feel right. And actually have a look at your own research. And yeah, and suddenly you start to find that the narrative, it doesn't stack up. You know,
Yeah.
either things like the timeline isn't right. The facts that they're trying to support just simply don't hold water. You know,
No.
people have to stop being sheep and stop following everything that they're told, and make a decision for themselves. And it's the only way you're going to start to find the truth out there.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more with you, mate. Absolutely. That's funny you say that, because I mean I just actually threw this up on the screen just before. Unlearn and discern. Yeah, that's my motto. I've always gone by that.
Yeah.
It comes from Yoda. When he says you must unlearn what you have learned. Well, I changed that for myself and said unlearn and discern,
Yep.
because that's what we need to learn to do, is actually have a discerning approach to most things and question it. Most people don't question it; they just take it as being face value. Oh yeah, cool. We'll just move on. No, you should actually question things, because what if you're actually walking into a trap? I mean, look at the entrapment we've just seen, the coercion that went on the last 2 years alone. I mean, that alone speaks for itself.
Yeah.
You have to question the narrative of everything, otherwise the status quo remains on keeping you imprisoned,
Mm-hmm.
and it will never change unless you want to change it.
Well, I mean, you know, some of my background, I've worked in the shadows,
Yeah,
and you know, when you have a target, there's always a multi-prong approach.
yes,
So if one doesn't quite get you, then something else will.
yeah,
And I think it's also something where people today are really missing the point with the spicy jab. That
yeah,
just because they've missed the jab does not mean that they haven't been spiked in their food, their water, they've been sprayed.
yeah.
God knows how, or what are the delivery forms. But sickness overall, even in those who haven't been jabbed,
Yeah.
is still up.
Oh, it's
And
alarming.
and,
Yeah.
and it's what I mean. Start asking the questions, guys. Back when I was doing that sort of stuff, if we wanted someone taken out, you know, we could have anything like an ice bullet. We
Yeah,
would have a
it helps.
radioactive
Exactly, leaving no evidence.
tiny little drop in a cup of coffee,
Yep,
and you're dead.
that's
It
right.
may not be straight away, but hey, a few days, few months down the line, cancer's through your body. See you later. Problem gone.
Exactly. Yep,
And just because they've shown you one way how they're doing things, always look for the hand that's around your back that you're not seeing, because
power of misdirection. Exactly, the power of
most
misdirection.
definitely
What's going on
the
over here
sleight of,
isn't necessarily what's going on there. Exactly.
yep, dead right. The sleight of hand is and I think
Yep.
this is where the white hats especially are now starting to things are starting to come to light, because back when I was in the Air Force doing what I was doing, I didn't actually realise it until now that what I was doing was actually for the white hats, and that's 30 years
Yeah.
ago, people. This is
Yeah.
how
Wow.
long
That's awesome.
these people have been working in the background trying to nail these bastards to the wall, but
Yeah.
they needed them to show their hand in order to start taking them down. And
Yeah.
it's only
No, I
now
agree.
that it's happened. So
Yeah. No, I
yeah,
totally agree, mate. Absolutely. It's
and
funny that you say that. Yeah, about the white hats and such. Because I saw it. Do you know the movie Kingsman?
yes, yes,
Okay. The new one where they had the King's Man, the first one, the prequel story. Excuse me,
mm-hmm,
the prequel story where they had Rasputin in it. Okay,
yes,
there's a scene where Polly, the house servant, who's also a code breaker, she breaks a certain code that needed to be had for the war in order to try and win it as such. And I can't remember his name. Uh, But the gentleman that's in the movie, he turns around and says to Polly, "Well done, Polly. Shall we get this to the White Hats?"
Yes.
Straight up in the movie, they mention it right there. Now, that's 1913.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, I
Yeah.
mean, it just shows you there, and the fact that in this movie, they're showing you a bit of truth in plain sight right there about how long the White Hats have actually been this active operation in history.
Mm-hmm.
It's been going on for over 100 years, people. It's
Mm-hmm.
over 100 years it's been in operation right now.
Well, I mean, I was even watching a French documentary today on MH370, and I
Ah,
tell you, some of the conclusions that they've got from there, very, very enlightening. And
oh yeah. Did they
um,
mention Diego Garcia Island at all?
they most certainly did. And more importantly, what that aircraft was carrying, and yeah,
Yeah,
with the
and
20
who was on
scientists,
board? Yeah, the
yeah,
scientists.
and
Yeah,
it was, yeah, like they were going for patent application
yeah,
now, of computer chips that can fit into the dimple of a golf ball and yet
yeah.
can operate drones and that sort of stuff. I mean, real next, level
Next
stuff
level
as far as we
sophistication.
know. Um, but if you want that stuff hidden, what better way to silence someone is get
Yeah,
rid of the
exactly.
aircraft.
Yep,
And
exactly.
and how they've intentionally flown out and on the borderline of countries, in an area where radar won't get them. Now you have to
Yeah,
know what you're doing, or turning the ACARS system off. You have to climb down into the belly of the aircraft, find a specific
that's right.
circuit breaker to pop it to stop that
Yeah, right.
transmission
Yes,
going via satellite. I mean, a
that's right.
general pilot will not know that. So,
No,
I mean, this is
only an
specialized
engineer.
stuff. Yeah, yeah. This is specialized stuff. And
Yep.
anyone that turns around and says that is just a standard accident, no, not a hope in hell.
No,
It
that's
just,
right.
yeah, just got to start asking the right questions, I suppose, and your answer will be evident very, very quickly.
Yep, you'll come to the conclusions very quickly, and as I said, it sticks out like, as the old Australian saying goes, sticks out like dog's balls, mate. And once you
Yeah.
see it, you can't unsee it.
Well, I mean, think of even things like the Hindenburg disaster.
Yeah,
You had airships that were flying around possibly for hundreds of years, where
yeah,
photos have been whited out. Why? To hide the
yeah,
airship. And suddenly
yeah. That's
one
right.
accident, and poof, all your air
Yeah,
travel gone. Why? What were they truly hiding?
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
I'll
Very
leave
sophisticated.
I'll leave that one for your audience to yeah to think
Yeah,
about.
they can't have a
And
look at for themselves.
yeah, and just think of what was going on around the time. You've got the Rockefellers, you've got with oil, your electric
Yeah,
cars
Standard Oil.
gone. At the time,
Yep,
why? Because they were in competition for oil.
yep.
So
That's right.
yeah, as I say, just do your own research, people. The stuff is out there. It is slowly coming out, but just the major events, really take a good hard second look at who was on there or what was happening at the time, and I
That's
tell you,
right.
you can pretty much start to figure out, um, the real reason behind it, and
Yeah,
and understand that you've literally been at war every minute of your life,
yeah. We have.
and yet
We
you
have.
don't know.
Yeah, we've been conditioned to a state of fear that is so normal to us now that we don't even know what real fear is.
Mm. and
Yeah,
more
because when it
importantly,
comes to one, it's gonna give people heart attacks in such a way if it was to hit.
yeah,
Their fear would be so, oh Christ, people would die of heart attacks and shock right there on the street
yeah. I mean,
if they truly knew the level and scope of what there's been as to what they how they've been living. Yeah, and they call it normal. I mean, if they come to if they were to know the truth of what's behind the scenes and being active all these thousands of years, would they have been so quick to turn a sleight of hand and turn a blind eye, or would they have risen up all this time and we wouldn't have been going through this shit?
absolutely. And I mean,
Question everything.
more importantly, people, you know, who here in this world knows what peace is? What does it feel like? Real
Yeah,
peace, not
real
just
peace.
be left alone for a few hours and
No,
left to your own devices, where you still got to come back to reality. What
that's right.
is real peace? What is harmony? We don't know. And the only way in which we're ever going to find out is to start, yeah, waking up.
Waking up and questioning everything. Absolutely, my brother. Absolutely.
Mm.
Couldn't agree more. Well, I was going to say, mate, hey, it's been an absolute pleasure tonight. It's actually starting to get on. I know that I've got to let you go, so I'm not going to hold you up very much longer, mate. I'm actually going to just wrap it up for the evening. Graham, mate, um, Graham just messaged me again on my phone. God, I wish he'd leave me alone.
Don't
Sorry about
worry
that.
about it, mate. Don't worry.
Sorry about that, buddy. He always does this every time I'm online. Sorry about that. Bob, would you be willing to come back and talk to us again at some stage in the future, mate?
Most definitely. Most
Because I've got to
definitely.
say, I've really enjoyed having you here tonight and having your input. And because I was actually running behind a little bit today, I wasn't able to have the photos that I would really love to have had prepped properly for us. But next time I do have you on, if you like, we can actually choose a specific topic and subject matter for the night. I know that I was going to talk about the rainbow light body tonight and some of our ancient civilizations and cultures and stuff as well. But unfortunately, time permitting as well, and we can only fit so much as such together.
No, all good.
But I was going to say, I'll have some really good photos put together next time that I've got on my files here, and we'll go to town.
Sounds
Because
good.
I absolutely love talking to you privately. I love, just having that friendship, the ability to be able to communicate effectively and openly about what we both see, feel, and been able to interpret through our own research over time and coming to very similar conclusions. It's not often you get to meet someone like that, and since I've met you, Bob, I've actually really embraced our friendship, and I really appreciate it, mate, and appreciate you, mate. So anytime you want to come back and use this place as a platform to sound off, mate, and talk about things, please do. I really encourage it anytime you want.
Look, mate, it's an absolute pleasure, and thank you. I mean, yeah, I mean, our friendship since we're, Carl introduced, each of us has just absolutely blossomed day after day.
Oh,
And yeah, I think we're going to have some absolutely awesome shows that are,
yeah.
that'll happen down the line. It's,
Anticipation.
it's real truth, and it's getting out there. And
It is, mate.
if all we need is one person per show, that we put that little spark of life in there, and
Absolutely.
they go, wow, that's another way to
Yep.
look at something, because that one person will talk to another one, that'll talk to another one, and it's about waking people up, folks.
Yep.
And the more truth that we can get out there, the more people can actually realize how much of an illusion they've actually been living.
Exactly. And how much of a better life can be had from leaving that old one behind
And absolutely.
and embracing these new teachings and things that have been hidden from us. By doing such things, you'll find that your life, you'll find a sense of solace and peace that will wash over you eventually once you start to align yourselves with these things. Because I found for many years my turbulence was always there. I was always at war within myself and blaming the world for a lot of things. For every finger I had pointing out, I had three more pointing back at me. It wasn't until I started looking at myself and going within and looking at the fact that what was my part? What did I have an active role in doing here that actually caused me to lead myself into this situation? Because really, at the end of the day, it's not someone else's choice. It was my choice. What did I do? So You have to start questioning these things. And when you start questioning and you start looking at these esoteric teachings and start putting them into practice on an everyday level, you find that your life changes fundamentally for the better on such a grand scale. Like, I mean, it's not funny. Like myself, like, yes, I get a little bit sad. There's a difference between sadness and depression. You're allowed to feel that because that's what's called being human. It's called having emotions and feelings. But at the same time, allowing yourself to process these things and actually come to a positive from a negative, which we're not taught to do. If you teach yourself how to do that and using these esoteric teachings as well, you find that your life changes overnight, virtually overnight. And I will completely say that wholeheartedly to everyone right now. Try. Now, as Yoda said, no, try not. Do or do not. There is no try. That's Yoda.
Mm-hmm. Very, very, very wise words. And I mean, it's something that I found, and believe it or not, it was actually Carl that really gave me I suppose, the opportunity. And
me too, yeah.
I suppose probably the best way to say it is forgetting the fear.
Yeah, and letting it go.
You know, it's like you have a voice, use it. But also to hell what other people think about you. At the end of the day, what matters is you, and how you see yourself. If your words, which are the truth, hurt someone, well, obviously that person just didn't quite want to deal with whatever it was at that time, and that's their problem, not yours.
That is this.
And
that's exactly right. Do not feel guilt for that ever, people. Do not ever feel guilt for that either. What Bob was just saying, because it does lay with the individual if they don't like it. Never feel guilt for speaking your truth or standing in your truth ever.
I mean, so much of our, well, I suppose our way in the world now, it's the minorities that are offended, and it's the minorities that are the ones kicking up the most to turn around and say, I'm offended, blah, blah, blah. Where the silent majority are exactly that, they're silent. And and I really take my hat off to Carl. I mean, it took me quite a while. I was sitting there looking. Some of the secrets that I've got sitting there that will eventually get out into the mainstream. They need to be told, but they need to be told in the right place at the right time.
I couldn't agree more.
And having Carl and yourself being supportive in that when the time is right and the environment is right, those particular conversations will be had. And I'll tell you now, some of the things that I know and that will be disclosed about how society is so interlinked and so fake. And
at least
some people are going to have some real serious difficulty. And
unfortunately, they will.
Yeah, but it's come to a point in the world now. Time is running out.
Yeah,
and you no longer be a sitter on the fence.
No,
you must choose one way or the other. Either you stay asleep, or you wake up and come over to our side.
Absolutely, it's either with us or against us now. It's either on the light side or the dark side.
Yeah, and there is no other option. You will be made one way or another. Excuse me. Yeah, one way or another, you will be made to make that decision. But only you can make that choice. Yeah, I can't do it. Chris can't do it. Carl can't do it. It must come from you, and it must come from your heart.
Yep, I totally agree. Totally, mate. Wholeheartedly. Wow.
All right, but
beautiful way to end it, mate. Beautiful way to end it on that, mate. That's beautiful.
All right. Well, all the best, Chris, and thank you, listeners.
Yeah.
And we will definitely do it again.
Absolutely. I was going to say, yeah, this is a beautiful way to end it on that note. You know, what you just said, that was beautiful because, yeah, people really need to do this, you know, for themselves because without questioning anything, you're not going to learn. You know, to sit there and go forward every day and be complacent and just turn a blind eye and just put your head in your phone instead of actually having that thought that comes through, you know, instead of let it be fleeting and pass momentarily out your mind, take that thought, go and Google it. Well, not Google it, but go and use your different search generators like DuckDuckGo. Stuff Google for the time being until we know it's under proper control. But use those thoughts. Go and actually research these things. Go and go down those rabbit holes. Open those doors with those keys that you're given. Because without going through those doors, you're never going to find out the truths that has been hidden from you. I mean, myself and Bob can only do so many things and say so much. It's up to you, the individual, the audience, to go and have a look at this stuff for yourselves. I mean, we found it ourselves over the years. We can present it and give it to you in such a way that you can enjoy listening to it. But at the end of the day, we can only lead the horse to water. We can't make the horse drink. Okay. At the end of the day, you must be willing to drink from the pool of knowledge if you are willing to open your minds and actually move forward and away from this world of indoctrination, systems of control, and bullshit. It's the only way. And by doing these fundamental things that myself and Bob have been doing and so many others, and actually embracing also the spiritual and the esoteric teachings as well from the ancient world, your life will move and change in such a way that I can't even begin to describe. Absolutely. So, yeah, people just, stay true to yourselves, stay in heart, stay in spirit, and always stay in love and do everything from the heart. And just remember, people, everyone, always unlearn and discern because we're all in this together. Really, at the end of the day, we are all in this together. There is nothing that we cannot achieve everything can be achieved together. There's nothing that we cannot do. We just have to change this and do this. Okay, people? So in saying that, I'm going to say goodnight to you all and love yous and leave yous. Thank you, everyone from Starseeds and Patrons from Down Under. Thank you, Bob, for joining us, and see you all next time, and love yous all. Take care, Bob. See you next time, buddy.
Alrighty, thank you.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test. Expect nothing less, your check is on chest, what's happening next?
You got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession, all in his possession. You got their attention, I'll leave an impression and take a redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression.